We have all been hit by tough recent economic times, or at the very least, we know of someone else that has. And while we may not want to apply for assistance or reach out for welfare type programs, there is no shame in it. And so I'm here today to give you a brief introduction to a benefit formerly known as food stamps, now called SNAP. SNAP is Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program. So according to the SNAP manual and an interview I conducted with Sheila Morris, SNAP worker with Louisa Social Services, I will provide you information on how you can apply for SNAP benefits and what you can expect during the eligibility process. I'm going to do this in the next few minutes by giving you a brief history of the SNAP program, explain to you how you can apply for SNAP benefits, what you can expect during the eligibility process, and finally the processing time for the worker to work your case. So according to Part 1, Chapter B of the SNAP manual, SNAP, formerly known as food stamps and oftentimes referred to as EBT, was first introduced to 4 Virginia localities during a pilot phase: Lee, Wise, City of Norton, and Dickinson. By June of 1974, it had reached 70 additional localities. And President Nixon signed the Farm Bill in August of 1973, which implemented the program in July 1 of 1974 statewide. So now you ask, who can apply? Can I? And how? Well, according to Part 2, Chapter B of the SNAP manual, anybody can apply, and you can obtain an application that looks similar to this at your local agency, and you can file it either in person, by mail, or by fax. Or, according to Part 2, Appendix 2 of the SNAP manual, you can file an application online at www.dss.state.va.us or www.vafood.org. So once the application is received, you wonder what happens. Well, according to Sheila Morris with the SNAP worker with the Louisa Social Services, they will contact you to schedule an interview. And the purpose of that interview is so they can obtain information about you and your situation for you and your family. She stated that you would provide your information on your liquid resources verbally. And liquid resources would be things like cash money, checking accounts, savings accounts, credit union accounts, any liquid resource you have. She stated that you would also provide verbally information on your shelter expenses and child care expenses. Shelter expenses being something like your mortgage, rent, electric bill, and phone bill. Child care expenses being the expenses that you pay while your children are in child care while you're working. She stated that there are some things that you do have to verify, and of those things, they would give you a checklist for you to provide those things. And a couple of those things that are mandatory are things such as your identity, who you are, and where you live. And this is an example of something that you could use to provide who you are. It's got a picture of you with your name, and it could even be used to provide verification of where you live. Another thing that could be used for where you live would be your lease, electric bill, just something that would show where you live and who you are. She also stated that you would need to provide verification of your gross income. Examples of gross income would be things such as your gross income from working, Social Security, child support, any income that you receive. And something like that would be a pay stub or something from Social Security or the Division of Child Support to verify your child support. According to Sheila Morris, they use your gross income and your household size to determine your ultimate amount for your food stamp allotment. She also stated that by providing verifications of your shelter expenses, or even verbally providing those things, shelter expenses and child care expenses, it could sometimes help increase your food stamp allotment slightly. So now you wonder, how long do they have to work the case? Well, according to Sheila Morris, they have 7 days or 30 days. And she was explaining to me that a 7-day policy or 7-day deadline is something that's considered an emergency. And the state defines an emergency case as one where the entire household has only about $150 in gross income for the entire month to survive. And that is what the state would consider as an emergency, in which case you would have to have your benefits within 7 days, regardless of whether you had verified your identity or your income yet. She stated that a lot of cases fall within that 30-day time frame where their income's obviously over $150, and so the state doesn't consider it an emergency. And she stated that if you don't provide the verifications they need, your case is either going to be denied or closed. So, in conclusion, I would just like to reiterate that anyone can apply for SNAP benefits, and that you just need to remember that the worker needs what they have requested in order for them to determine whether you're eligible for the SNAP benefit. And just because you provide them does not mean that you're going to be eligible, because they still have that gross income limit that they have to follow. And if you're over that, then it would put you over that income limit. So as I stated earlier, the purpose of this discussion at this point was for me to explain to you how you can apply for SNAP benefits and what you can expect during that eligibility process. So you now have the information you need so that you can either go to your local agency and fill out the application, or go online and file the application with your local agency. So in closing, I just want to remind you that it is a supplement. It's not designed to provide all of your household's food. It's only designed to help you provide a certain portion of your food. And if this is any indication, the bare minimum that you may possibly be eligible for with SNAP benefits is $14, which obviously is not going to provide all of your household's food. Thank you for your time.